You definitely don't want to be clicking on any Craigslist ads that read attractive female needed for leading role. Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. I'm Danny and this is In Medias Res, where we start in the middle of things. Today we're talking about the film industry and some important things you must know if you are either thinking about or already starting a career in the film industry as an actor or actress. Hey guys, future editing me just wants to say something really quickly, and it is that when I say getting into the film industry, I mean landing your first gig, your first opportunity, and being offered more opportunities along the way rather than quote unquote making it big. As you will see later in this video, the more experience you gain, the better your resume looks, and the more establishment you will gain for a solid foundation towards building a grand tower of experience. Additionally, I would like to encourage my viewers to anticipate positive things to come in the future. Although this year has been very trying in so many ways for the entire world, we can and do hope that what this could mean for the film industry and potential job opportunities is seeing more of an easily accessible online community or platform in order to prepare for better days to come, wherein which all of the experience you've gained, regardless of it being through an official online project, due to the circumstances, will still and most definitely qualify as professional experience. In this video, we are going to focus on selecting an acting role and what you want to take into consideration when building your acting resume. This isn't just for the younger audience on the platform, but for anyone else at any age if you are beginning your acting career. So one of the most important ways for those of you wanting to establish yourselves more seriously to build an acting resume is to get involved. If you are in high school or college, try to get involved with anything film related in your area. Oftentimes, especially if you are in college, there will be several posters and ads around campus with casting calls for student projects. Not only this, but the city or town itself will probably offer great opportunities for you to be a part of. For example, during my time in college, I was able to be a part of Richard Linklater's Everybody Wants Some, because not only did I actively seek through a casting agency that I had been following for a couple of years on Facebook, but I was already a student attending the university, which was actually one of the filming locations for the film. So I didn't have to travel, and it was so nice not having to worry about being late or getting lost because I was so familiar with the area already. And as it turns out, one of the scenes that we ended up filming for like 12 plus hours, we got pizza, so it was okay. It actually ended up being filmed inside one of the classrooms in which I was already taking a class. So it was really cool and kind of surreal being in that classroom for a different purpose. So I thought that was really interesting and just a really big coincidence. It was maybe 2.5 years later, I was actually presented with the opportunity through the same casting agency, I believe, to work on Robert Rodriguez's film Alita Battle Angel. And this is the film adaptation of the manga series. So let me tell you, this has to be the longest working day that I've had. I believe it was at least 16 hours. I actually ended up taking a nap, but I actually gained a lot of experience while I was not only on set, but while we were waiting to be called. For this movie, I got to be a cyborg pedestrian for Iron City, which I thought was really cool. So they had to cover up my tattoo that I have on one of my arms, and you know, there's makeup, wardrobe, they makeup spray painted the tattoo to cover it up, and they put this like gray sleeve on my arm. They also had to put like localizers on my arm so that they can put me in front of this camera and they would kind of be like taking pictures like 360. This was so that they could sync the arm and the special effects in the film. I've seen the film. I'm pretty sure I was able to see myself, but it's so quick that it's kind of hard to see, and maybe I'm just missing it, but there are several people who were given these cyborg pieces to wear. It actually wasn't a lot of people that were able to do that, so it was really cool being a part of the select few that got to go the extra step, so to speak. And I think, if I recall correctly, we also got paid just a little bit more, which was great. On top of that, they also had vegetarian catering options. One of the most recent experiences I've had with Panic, they also had vegetarian catering options. So I just think it's really cool that like they're also considering several groups of people that are working for them. I also got to meet some really cool people while on set. Unfortunately, I've lost touch with some of them, but hopefully they'll be able to watch this video and maybe we'll get to reconnect soon. Who knows? This brings me to my next point, which is to make connections. When I was in college and outside of it thereafter, I would hear all the time about how communication is key. I literally took a communications class, and this was the motto that they preach to everybody, and that is that basically the world does not run without communication. It's just impossible, and it's very true. Part of that building your resume is the vital networking, and that's through making connections with the people that you meet, whether it is another extra on set if you are an extra, or another cast member if you're a part of the main cast, or crew members. Anyone in the industry that is willing to share their knowledge and experience and their assistance to you that you can benefit from is something that you can definitely use to build your resume even further. So when you're on set and it's the right time and the right place, don't be afraid to approach another actor or actress or even a crew member in order to network. I say the right time and right place because there is a right time to do it, and that is if you're off set and you're not filming, because if you're on set and you are filming, more than likely as a background talent, you are being asked to pantomime. And pantomiming is basically where you are set up in the background with another individual or by yourself, and you're pretending to talk, you're pretending to have a conversation, you're pretending to be doing something essentially, when in reality you're not actually having a conversation with another person. You're just awkwardly making hand gestures and talking and pretending, basically, which is what acting is. But it takes it a step further because you're just silent, and the reason for this is that the audio equipment for the set will actually very easily pick up any audio that happened close by. So while the cameras are rolling and while you're on set, you definitely don't want to be having a conversation with someone, because you'll get in trouble and you'll probably get escorted out after them probably telling you a few times. I've seen stuff like that happen. You also kind of want to gauge if the people around you are open to having a conversation with you, maybe to kill the time while you guys wait to be called. Maybe they just want to take a break. So it's a matter of gauging whether other people want to interact with you. I don't recommend, however, going out of your way to talk to the directors or the main cast, because they already have a lot on their plate. And although it is very exciting to see some really big actors and actresses in front of you or around you, or the director is someone that you really admire, they probably get approached a lot and they are there to work. They definitely don't want to be distracted. If the opportunity presents itself, if you find that the time is right, you can most definitely use the time to have a conversation with this person, or just ask them a few questions or let them know like what you think about the project. Just keep it professional and friendly. You want to start building a network with fellow background talent if you are background talent. Believe it or not, even crew members will start to somewhat recognize you if you're working with the same casting agency for some time. They will especially notice if you are always on time, if you're always ready, if you're respectful and professional, and they might even start recognizing you after a few projects. However, don't expect to be recognized immediately or at all, if ever. I think some people go into this industry expecting to be recognized right away. Before we move on, I just quickly want to say that there's another video I'd like to make for you guys touching on the etiquette of being on set. Leave a comment down below if you're interested in watching that from me. Now for my next tip, for things you must know when building your acting resume, is to be consistent. If you are consistent with your efforts, submitting for open casting calls, staying in touch with your connections, and being in communication with them, you are more likely to build your resume a lot faster. So it's good to focus on doing smaller projects because you get to work through them a lot faster. That way you have more reputation as an actor or actress before you get into a bigger project. Versus if you started with one slightly bigger project and that took maybe about a year to film and for it to come out and for you to be credited with that, then you have one credit to your name versus possibly 5 within the same time frame that you could use to build up your resume. Now, I'm not saying to turn down an opportunity for a feature-length film, by no means, but if you are working on a feature-length film, you still want to be taking part in smaller projects in the meantime in order for you to be effectively building your resume. You want to stay in touch with your connections and be consistent in communicating with them, but you definitely don't want to bombard them with messages every single day. What you want to do is remind the people that you've made a connection with that A, you appreciate that connection, B, you support them, C, you are thinking about them, and we're still people, so catching up over a cup of coffee can most definitely bring those connections closer and even develop friendships. But you want to be genuine. You don't just want to reach out to people because you want to see if they have anything to offer you. If there's an opportunity that doesn't quite suit you, but you know is a great opportunity, you should pitch those opportunities to the connections that you've made, because although it may not be what you want to do at the time, it may be something that they would be looking forward to. And if you've found a casting agency to work with and the project you worked on with them is something you enjoy doing, I recommend seeking out projects with that same casting agency if it has been working for you. Eventually, they may even reach out to you because you have proven to be a reliable talent for them. Therefore, it makes it a lot easier for them to cast a lot faster for their projects. However, there may also be a lesser known agency, one that you haven't worked with around your area or near your area, or maybe even outside of your area that you're thinking about trying, and I also recommend submitting to them. It also doesn't hurt to go to Facebook to look for legitimate casting agencies. If you're doing a Google search, you just want to be careful of what kinds of sites you are sending your information to. Having said that, allows for the perfect segue, and that is that while you are 1, getting involved, 2, making connections, and 3, being consistent, you want to 4, be semi-selective. Now, what I mean by that is we always want to be aware of who we are reaching out to or who is reaching out to us, if anyone, especially if you are a minor in the industry or wanting to get in the industry. And unfortunately, I hate to say this, but as women in the industry, now I'm not saying it doesn't happen to anybody else, but history has proven that women and children are more likely targeted by people posing in the industry, claiming to be someone they're not, in order to harm other people. So we just have to take into account whether the person whom we reach out to, or if a person reaches out to us for a project, if that person is someone that we know and trust, or if that person is a complete stranger on the internet. We also have to consider whether this person has any accreditation to their name, even if their projects are not of the highest quality in your opinion, or if they are not the best in comparison to, say, Hollywood, or if they are actually just a person who has zero involvement in the industry and it's kind of sketchy. You definitely don't want to be clicking on any Craigslist ads that read attractive female needed for leading role. Not every ad out there is false, but I can guarantee that there are more false claims from alleged casting directors or people who claim to be in the film industry than actual people posting on sites like Craigslist. Odds are though, if someone is serious about this kind of work, they're probably not going to be posting on a site like Craigslist. Instead, if you are trying to avoid paying a subscription fee to a website like Backstage, if you're not a represented actor or actress, then you could easily go to Facebook to search for groups or pages that post casting calls, preferably run by an actual casting agency or casting director. Sometimes beginning directors, screenwriters, producers, or fellow actors and actresses will not know where to pitch their ideas. Therefore, they resort to posting on a website like Craigslist. But like I said, the odds of that are very small. So it's important to actually look into the project before you agree to anything or present yourself anywhere. No matter where you are, you have to be careful and you have to stay aware of your surroundings, as well as be cautious of who you trust. There are too many stories and too many crime events in the history of time to know and understand and be aware that there are people who exist in the world whom do not have the best intentions. That isn't to say that there aren't great opportunities online if you know where to look, if you're willing to travel, if you're not located in a hotspot for casting calls, and if you're willing to build a network of valuable connections with people you do trust, or if the people that you are bringing into your network have some sort of accreditation. In the beginning of your career and when you're first building your acting resume, you don't want to be selective in the sense that you only want to take on leading or starring roles and you only want to work with big names. You can actually be missing out on some really great opportunities to practice and learn your craft. So if you're not in California and if you're not in New York or if you're not in Atlanta, Georgia, for example, you don't just want to move out to these cities because they are hotspots for casting calls without any sort of experience. Now, I'm not saying that by some miraculous chance you may be discovered. However, the odds of that happening are not very high. I highly encourage you to, instead of moving out right away, build your resume before you make a big decision, such as moving to a different state or different city, in order to have those opportunities. Some people are willing to take the risk. I'm a little bit more careful. I quickly want to say that everyone should be allowed to make mistakes. Choosing a role for a project may end up being something we regret, and that's okay. I'm sure it goes without saying that mistakes can be learning curves, and I just want everybody to be careful in considering their own future selves. I am also a huge overthinker and tend to anticipate the worst in every situation, which has in turn spared me some regret, but not all. So don't be afraid to challenge yourself with new roles in order to make improvements and step out of your comfort zone. There are some amazing actors who end up really surprising their audience and fan base with a role that is very unlike their normal characters or the characters that they would normally go for. Take Heath Ledger, for example, who was most widely known up until a certain point for mostly lighthearted or wholesome rom-com or even action and adventure genre films, but his most notable role ended up being that of the Joker. There is to take into consideration, of course, the effect of how the film was made, the difference that an entire team or one individual can make as the overall impact on the audience. However, Heath Ledger's own personal take added so much to the already established Joker character that actually kickstarted an entire Joker-driven Gotham focus thereafter. And if you are wanting to get into acting solely for the purpose of gaining immediate recognition with absolutely no work, no effort, no notoriety, and nothing else, then it is probably not a profession for you. Unless you are willing to learn, you are willing to practice, you're willing to research, you're willing to take the time to sit down and Read up on books, read up on articles, watch a million YouTube videos, watch movies over and over again. If you're willing to try and get rejected, if you're willing to try again and get rejected again, and if you're willing to keep trying until you are booked. You do want to be semi-selective, however, by learning a little bit more about the project and not just jumping in on just any opportunity, because you still have to be careful taking into account your physical safety and your career. Your first involvement may not even be an acting role. It may actually just be helping a friend recording the video on their phone. It may be storyboarding ideas for a music video, creating a video for a TikTok skit that ends up becoming viral, creating a script for a short student project that is likely to be pitched for a festival, or even creating a script for a feature-length film. You may even end up being a part of the crew for a project instead of the cast, and that is also a great opportunity to gain some more knowledge of the industry and build your resume. On the subject of being selective, however, I just want to say that I will be working on a video talking about some major red flags to spot when looking at casting calls, because it's very important for everyone to know the dangers of the industry from my own experience and experiences other people have relayed to me. Natalia Taylor, another YouTuber on the platform, whose videos are super helpful, by the way, in particular for those of you guys wanting to get into the modeling industry. She actually talks about her own experience as a young aspiring model, unfortunately having come across a not very good person. I don't want to get demonetized on this video, but this person was claiming to be someone they weren't in the industry. I strongly encourage you to go watch her video and listen for some of those red flags that she actually missed. I'll be linking that video down below. I myself have had some negative experiences. If you're interested in hearing about my experience, just let me know in the comments and I will share with you the misfortunes, one in particular that really stood out more than the others, because I do think it can be helpful so that you won't make the same mistakes that I have made in the past. Another reason you want to be semi-selective in the beginning of building your resume is because you want to align your work with your ethics and morals. At least I personally do. Whether that will always be the case, I'm not sure, but not every project is going to turn out how you expect it to. Not every role is going to be your favorite. There is something to learn from the favorites as well as the not so favorites. I would suggest getting involved in a filming project through a less than exciting role that still aligns with your views and morals versus a very exciting role that could potentially permanently alter your overall acting career and reputation as an actor or actress. And most importantly, your safety. When I say that you have to take your actor or actress reputation into account, I don't mean that you don't want to take on an adult role if that is appropriate for you, if that is what you want to do. By all means, do that. I mean that there are a lot of actors or actresses that end up becoming character types because once they land a role that end up kickstarting or boosting their careers, it seems to be more difficult to be taken seriously for a different kind of role on a different project. So if you are open to having some comedy roles but really hope to land a role in the drama genre film or horror genre film, you would probably want to balance your selection between comedy, drama, and horror, and in between, or be more selective in the characters that you go for. On that note, I have a personal theory from simple observation throughout time, which is that some comedians, and I mean truly funny stand-up comedians, are perfect for chilling horror because they've learned to use proper timing in their punchlines. So they actually know exactly how to avoid it in order to provide a serious tone rather than the emotion or joke or effort falling through. A great example of this is Jordan Peele, having written and directed two amazing films, Get Out, released in 2017, and Us in 2019. So Jordan Peele is traditionally known as a stand-up comedian with short comedy skits and comedic acting roles, but the result of that transition from an actor to director was very notable, ultimately securing him at least 10 film awards, one of those being the 2018 Academy Award for Best Original Screenplay. Jordan Peele has co-produced and screenwritten the Candyman remake set to be released this September of 2020, although he did not direct this one. Guys, I'm not a big horror fan, but I am looking forward to more Jordan Peele projects because he just has it. Jordan Peele, if you're ever watching this, let me work with you one day, please. Okay, thank you, bye. Anyway, back to the video. On that note, this is very different than choosing a role being offered to you because it is of a villain and you are not in real life. You may actually land an incredible role with a character that you can completely disassociate with in reality because you are not like that character at all. I think that that is one of the greatest things about acting, that you can take someone who's actually genuinely super kind, super great to be around on screen. They're actually the worst person in existence. In fact, there are some actors who choose to go for a role completely opposite of how they are in real life because the message or moral of the story actually speaks volumes to them. So you may not be anything like the character that you end up getting cast for, but you may be the perfect person for that role. The point is being semi-selective in the kinds of roles you're currently being offered for the kinds of roles you'd like to be offered in the future. And that is how you would like to establish yourself for your audience. However, if you're just helping out a friend so that he can become TikTok famous, then it's probably not that deep and you don't have to take it that seriously. In the beginning, some of us may want to be super selective of the roles we'd like to audition for or take part in, but as the saying goes, beggars can't be choosers. We cannot hold the expectation that without any experience, without any sort of involvement in the industry, somehow that we are going to land a big role such as The Hunger Games' Katniss Everdeen. The odds of that are not in your favor unless you're Neil Breen. And that brings me to my next tip on things you must know when building your resume, and that is to get inspired while you wait for a callback. If there's an actor that has inspired you, rewatch some of your favorite projects of theirs, from the more popular roles to their lesser known roles. For me, it is none other than the amazingly talented and underrated actor Cillian Murphy. From 28 Days Later in 2002, to Batman Begins in 2005, to Sunshine in 2007, to Inception in 2010, to Peaky Blinders in 2013. So I've viewed most of his projects, ranging from The Wind That Shakes the Barley to Enda Walsh's 1996 play adaptation to the 2001 film Disco Pigs. And that's not the complete list of the projects our beloved Irish Peaky has graced the world with, but my point in saying this is A, not only does he deserve more credit and recognition for his work, but B, somewhere along the line of you living your human life, you were inspired by either someone or something. More likely, you were inspired by someone. Cillian Murphy has been one of those people for me. So while you wait for a callback from a casting agency, grab a notepad, grab a pen, or use your phone to take some notes on what you think makes their acting good. I definitely don't recommend trying to be the same actor, but you could definitely have fun with it, and you can definitely try to mimic their style when you're practicing at home. However, you want to carry your own personality and give the characters your own take. When you're watching the people that inspired you, see what works for them, why it works for them, and why it works for that film or that project. You also have to mentally and emotionally prepare yourself to not hear a callback, and that's okay. The important thing is that you're getting involved, you're making connections while you're staying consistent, and you're still being semi-selective because there are plenty of opportunities out there. With the rise of this crisis, we are seeing a lot of online opportunities being presented, so it's a matter of looking and making yourself available making some room in the space you are living in, learning some more information about that project, and making the effort to submit. Although the world will be reopening, and I, first of all, never thought I would ever have to say that, but in my case, our state has already begun phase 1 of reintegration. As long as we are going through these challenging times, it's important to note that we should try to do what we can at home. And if you need some help with your auditions, don't be afraid to ask another family member or household member that you are living with. If you live alone, you may want to order a tripod, invest in some neutral bed sheets for your background. You may also want to go on Amazon, for example, and look up some affordable lighting, some affordable audio equipment, and if not a good camera, then the camera on your smartphone, assuming you do own a smartphone, or if you don't have a smartphone, you can probably ask someone in your household or a friend if borrowing their device is something that you can do. So while you're watching some of your favorite people on the big screen or smaller mobile screen for some of us, you want to take some notes, you want to get comfortable, you want to grab some snacks, you want to grab a drink, and if you're feeling hungry, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more information nachos and dip into this tasty content because it's actors happy hour somewhere. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks so much for liking, subscribing, and sharing. Please share for any acting people in your life. If there is anyone that you know would benefit from this video, I intend to make some more touching on the subject of the film industry. Additionally, I would like to encourage my viewers to anticipate positive things to come in the future. Although this year has been very trying in so many ways for the entire world, we can and do hope that what this could mean for the film industry and potential job opportunities is seeing more of an easily accessible online community or platform in order to prepare for better days to come, wherein which all of the experience you've gained, regardless of it being through an official online project, due to the circumstances, will still and most definitely qualify as professional experience. And if there's anything else that you guys want to see, just let me know down in the comments below. You can also reach out to me on Instagram. My Instagram handle is mediasres_. My Twitter handle is also mediasres_. Let me know what you think, and don't be afraid to reach out if you have any other questions. Also, don't forget to check out Natalia Taylor's video where she talks about the modeling industry incident, and stay tuned. Buenos nachos, muchachos.